Okay, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Sinead podcast. This week we have, after a long year, it's been a full year since you were on it the last time, so it's been a year since you were last on. So welcome back, Jack, my boyfriend.
It's good to be here. A lot has changed in a year, hasn't it, Sinead?
I know, especially as we're sitting in this really nice studio filming.
It's quite crazy, isn't it?
Yes.
From the first podcast, I didn't expect to be sitting in a studio in Bali for the second one.
I know, and like when we were doing yoga that last day we were literally in a jungle, and I was doing yoga and I was like, I wonder if Jack was thinking, like, how did I get here in this jungle doing yoga with Sinead? Like, can't cope, but we're here. And I think, like, first of all, we just need to like have a little update, because it's not like you update us, like we don't know what's going on in your head. Like, we know what's going on in my head 24/7 because I have a podcast and an Instagram. But like, since the year has progressed, like, how are you getting on living in Bali?
Yeah, well, obviously I'm not as active on Instagram as you, so a lot of my life isn't as public as you. But since the last year, from the first podcast, you know, my life's changed quite a bit. So I think when we did the first podcast, I was still in uni, wasn't I? I was in placement.
Yes, and we were doing long distance.
We were doing long distance. I was really struggling with placement. It was really difficult, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Especially because the first school I done my placement was really hard. Then I finally got over that hurdle. Came and done my second placement back home. Loved that. Passed my degree. Then I started working. Mm-hmm. And you came home for a while.
Yeah, but I was home last year. Well, in the summer. Basically, I was home for the whole summer, yeah.
Yeah. And then we were kind of deciding what we were doing next, because you weren't really enjoying life, living with Maureen and Damien.
Oh no, I love living with mum and dad, but mum's like, get out. So
Maureen wasn't enjoying you in the kitchen.
Yeah, even I'm so clean.
I would say you are pretty clean, but you being clean
Mom, listen.
to your mother isn't clean. Like, your mother would die if I lived there.
Jack, you're on my side.
I am on your side.
Yes. Jack knows, because one time Jack left a bowl.
I know, I had fear.
Jack left a bowl of cereal in the sink. Now, nobody leaves bowls or plates or like cups or anything in my house. It's like, it means you're a minger if you do that.
No, but to my defense, I cleaned the bowl and then set it on the sink.
No, it was in the sink.
Yeah,
so it was rinsed.
It was clean?
No. It was rinsed and it was in the sink. So there was like still milky water. And then Mum took a photo of it and she texted me going, disgusting.
I know.
And I texted to Jack and he was like, oh my God, fear.
Every time I'm in your house now, I'm being like double, making sure everything's clean, drying it with the tea towel, putting it back.
Yeah, you're very good now. So, so apart from that, you finished your placement and you were doing a bit of teaching. See, the thing is, we were deciding on whether to go to Bali. Like, we had always planned to go back to Bali around September or October, but the pandemic was happening, you were working, and we were like, oh, that's fine, we'll go with Christmas. I was kind of just like spending a fortune in Dublin, like sort of just like waiting and stuff. So I was like, why don't we just go and see how we like it? Because at the end of the day, this is the next step for us. And we did not know if like you were going to like it.
Yeah, no.
And like, I had to know. I couldn't keep waiting around for like, we couldn't just keep waiting around for months and then try something and you didn't like it, because it could be something that you didn't like. So we had to try it so then that like we can figure it out, because you know what I mean, like we want to know, because at the end of the day, like if you didn't like my lifestyle and I didn't like your lifestyle and we had different values, then we would have to part ways, and at least we would know, and we're open and honest about like where we are there, and the fact that we are very aware that we have very different lives.
Yeah, I think the main thing for me was I always wanted to move away, but I was just freshly finished uni. And everyone knows that once you finish uni, you don't exactly have a lot of money in the bank. So I was like, right, I'll get a few months of work behind me. And with COVID and stuff, like there was a delay in getting my like teaching certificate and all. It was a bit of a handling.
Oh yeah.
So there was like a little in-between stage where I was working construction.
With my dad.
With your dad. Which was an eye-opener. I'd never really done anything like that before. So then you kind of appreciated the teaching a little bit more. And then I kind of knew that I wanted to travel out. I've never actually done anything like that. So I was like, why not just experience it? You know, if it doesn't work out, at least we can both say we tried. But I kind of knew that I was going to like it. But the scariest thing for me was we were going to Bali. You've already lived in Bali. You kind of know the scenery. You have a little group of friends you've already made. Whereas I was coming out completely by myself. you know, it was kind of like a wee bit overwhelming. I was like, oh God, what if I don't get along with anyone? You already have your friend groups, so you can go to all your wee girly nights out, where I was like, oh, I don't really have anyone just yet. So for me, it was just trying to find a little community somewhere where that meant starting up the CrossFit. So I met some guys there, but I don't really like CrossFit that entirely much. So I was just kind of there to try and meet people and stuff, which is always difficult as well, because people are working out and afterwards you can have a little chat. But because you knew a lot of people, I was just kind of like leaning in the side, hello. But then once I found out there was football teams and stuff, and I think once you get into a sport, you kind of build like a little community. So now, what is it, almost 3 months in? Yeah. So I've got a little group of lads that I'm hanging about with. It's good fun.
Yeah, I think we had like we were struggling there at the start.
Yeah, we definitely were.
We were struggling about 2 months. I'd say like a month or two in, because I knew how much Jack needed a community, but Jack felt like he was like, oh, I'm okay, because you're not right. I think it's this, right? You have never had to make friends in another, like, because you've had your same friends from when you were at school, when you were a kid, and when you played football at home. Then you went with those guys to university, an hour and a half up the road. You came home every weekend. There was a few new friends, but it was because these were all drunk and out partying. Yeah. All right, so this is how. So Jack isn't used, and I was the same when I first went to Australia. I spent 8 months of Australia crying, ringing my mom and dad, like really upset, like really wanting to come home. And then obviously I read Lost Connections, which is a book about the causes and solutions of anxiety. And one of the main things that stood out to me was the lack of human connection that I had, and that I actually didn't know how much I needed human connection. So I knew that was what was wrong, like with me, because that's what I was going through. I was going through anxiety because I was feeling like really lonely, and like it's not even that. Like, say something happened, like you had nobody to go to and you had nobody to talk to, and I was aware of that, but I didn't think that you were aware of how much it was affecting you at the beginning. So like we actually had a bit of a serious talk like a few weeks ago, because like he was going to the gym and then he's coming back and he wasn't reaching out, and I was like, ask them out for dinner and stuff and blah blah blah. Like it's harder for lads to like ask someone ask them, like, whilst for me it's so easy. First of all, I'm really privileged in the fact that like people already know me. Like if anyone's Irish, I'm like, hey, they know me, they follow me. I know that like if they follow me as well, like I have that privilege that I know that they're gonna like want to hang about with me. So I don't ever get that like fear of rejection as much as what like you would get. You know what I mean? So I think like there was a big barrier there, but it's so funny because we were struggling with that because you were like, because you thought everything was all right because you were like just going to the gym, you're enjoying it, blah blah blah. But at the same time, you know, I was going out and like having dinner with the girls, and then you were sitting in, and that was fine. But then I was feeling bad, and also like you know, I need space in the house by myself, so I needed you to like reach out. So I was like, look, why don't you just try reach out, and like, no, I was like, you need to try new things. You need to go to like MMA or something like that. And you were a bit hesitant. So like what actually changed from you like being like, no, I'm not going to ask anyone out, or I'm not going to do that, to, because now you've got like a lovely little friend group, and you're like 10 times more like enthusiastic and happy. Like I literally see a skip in your step because like because you're like building a community.
I think at the start, you know, it's easy to play it safe and just, you know, do what you're used to, going to the gym, making your own food. But over time, you don't realise how much you do need friends, and how much you do need people to like go and say, if I wanted to do something, like need to have that person where I can ask to go to the cinema or ask to play football or instead of you know? Yeah. And it's okay at the start where we can kind of do that, but because we're living with each other, work from home, we're kind of in each other's company a lot. And I think you do need that space and that like sort of separation to like crave each other more, if that makes sense. And I was at the house doing the same thing, and I didn't come to Bali to just be comfortable. And that's why I'm doing things like podcasts and sports that I've never done before, because you may as well just get out of the comfort zone and start doing things that you're uncomfortable doing. So started a new sport, Bali MMA, Jiu-Jitsu and boxing, and I'm going to try the Muay Thai, isn't it you call it?
Muay Thai.
Muay Thai?
Yeah, well, whatever you call it.
So I'm going to try it as well. But they're interesting sports, to say the least, especially the Jiu-Jitsu. I think it's going to take at least 2-3 weeks before I understand anything.
Can you tell us about your first time in Jiu-Jitsu?
Yeah, why not? So Jiu-Jitsu is a really difficult sport. You know, you're wrestling with people of all sizes. and there's these moves that at the minute I haven't mastered. So you're kind of like doing a warm up and everything at the start. So this is my first day there. So we go on to the rules at the end, and they partner me with like a 12-year-old boy. It's like a really small boy. I could only weigh about 50, 60 kilos. Like, I must have had a lot of weight in him. And I was like looking around to the coach. I was like, I don't want to hurt this wee boy. Like, that's my first day here. I don't want to do anything. And I didn't really know what you're meant to do. So obviously you're meant to like submit them or choke them out or something.
Yeah.
So I like go beside him, and he like puts his feet on my hips. And next thing, he just opens up the legs like a spider and just wraps them around my neck and just starts squeezing and I fall down. And I got choked out by a 12-year-old on my first day, who I have about 20, 30 kilos on. And I was like, right, maybe Jiu-Jitsu isn't the sport for me.
This is the master of the sport though. Like when I go to Jiu-Jitsu, it's so rewarding to know that like I would know the moves to put you on the floor and put you in an armbar.
I know. I think if you do master it, it's a really good sport to understand, and actually all the techniques are really good for life and stuff, because it's crazy once you get in one position, it doesn't matter how much force you exert, you are not getting out of that position. Like it's mad. It's really good to learn.
And what do you think like held you back from that initial like, you know, invite thing? Because like I think we spoke in the did we speak in the podcast about being bullied before?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Maybe.
So like, do you think being bullied in the past has affected how you go forward with making friends? Like, do you think there's a fear of rejection?
I think to an extent, yes, but more the fact that I'm used to the same friend group and I've never really reached out, and I'm not really sure how to make new friends. Like, how do you even approach it? How do you start it? Because I'm used to the security of having my own mates. You know, we do all the same things. We do the same thing every weekend, the same bunch of lads. And I've never really reached out to anyone that I don't know, with being sober, if you understand. So sometimes it is hard to like go up to people that you don't know, introduce yourself and try and build a connection. But over time, you know, at the start I think you're right, you know, you do have a little bit of fear of rejection, that you go up to someone, ask them to do something, they say yes, but then they don't actually go. You kind of fear that little bit of rejection, but you know, not everyone's like that, and you're going to get out there and you're going to meet a lot of people that have similar interests, similar hobbies, and you are going to get along with people. So it's all about just keep trying and getting. I think community helps a lot too. I think these new sports and the football, you build a little bond, and then once you do that, you can talk about what you've just done. So if you're playing football, we play football every Fridays now, then we head out for a few pints after and we chat about the football game, and that really builds a good connection.
A few pints.
Well, in Irish we say 3 pints, but you know, when the
few pints.
When the crack's good, you kind of lose track of time.
5 a.m. You come home.
Time?
Every weekend, Friday nights after football, 5 a.m. You come rocking it. Guys, it's so funny, right? Because he obviously doesn't, and you know what, it's so funny, I don't care that he's out till 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, it doesn't bother me. But I think, what was it that day we were going somewhere the next day, but obviously I think it was like we were going away. I think you thought that I was going to be annoyed if you came home at 5. And I'm like, look, if you come home at 5, that's fine. As long as you get up at the right time, we go, and you're not sitting with a big sour head.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also you're 4 years younger than me, only 3 now.
3 now.
It's your birthday
26.
this week. So you're a bit fresher. Whilst if I know I'm going to drink until 5, like the next day, it's gonna be rough for me to get up. So Jack comes in at like 5 o'clock, but it's so funny because like I will wake if I hear him come through the door, but like he doesn't think that he's awakening me, and he's like tippy-toeing like, like I mean like. On the actual tip of his toe.
But that's just me trying to be polite and not wake you up.
It's so funny, like. But then it's like I watch him just tippy-toeing around the room, and then I'm like, are you okay?
Dad, because my dad, doesn't matter how deep sleep he is, if you make any noise, he's like, Jack, what are you doing? Hears it, don't know how he does it, just hears it instantly. You're the same, just the smallest noise wakes you up. Whereas I could sleep
because I'm waiting for my boyfriend to come home.
I could sleep through an earthquake.
Because I'm waiting for my boyfriend to come home. He's birthday till 5 o'clock in the morning in a foreign country.
I'll text you to say I'm fine, like you can go to sleep.
Okay, yeah, as long as you get the text. We've talked about the text before.
Yeah.
But you've been always very good with text me when you're out and stuff like that.
Sometimes it is easy to forget, but you know, if you were in your situation, it is nice to get a little bit of reassurance that your partner isn't dead.
Yes. Because like everyone was like, we were talking about this on my Instagram about trust and like how do you feel when it goes out, and I mean I'm totally fine, but like in general, like I worry about his safety. But I'm like, at the end of the day, it's his safety is his responsibility as well. Yeah. But like obviously I'm like, is he okay? Did he get in a fight with someone? Yes, I'm very happy. I just got my Australian visa back, and if you've been listening to the podcast, you probably known since the first day I started it, I've been wanting to go back to Australia. Yeah. And I'm just like, I could cry. I kind of knew it was going to happen this week. I just knew. And then, yeah, I just got the letter the other day. So I'm just excited because I feel like I've been living out of suitcase for 2 years. Whenever 2 years ago I was ready to not live out of suitcase. And then I could never really settle anywhere. And I feel like I wanted to start my business and do like, you know, have my own centre and like, you know, have a brave headquarters.
Yeah. Sometimes I kind of forget that you actually lived in Australia because I didn't meet you until you came home from Australia. So kind of that little phase in your life, I'm like, did she actually live in Australia for like, how long were you in Australia for?
A year. Like, I was there for a year and then I was going in and out on tourist visas.
Yeah.
Like 3 months on. Are you not following me?
I can't remember.
The cheek.
I can't remember if I was following you or not.
Yeah, you were.
I probably was.
Because we had kissed before.
To play it smooth here. I probably was, yeah, but I can't really remember a lot of your stories. I can barely remember yesterday, never mind 3 days or 3 years ago.
Okay, right. So, speaking of Australia, like, what's your vibes?
Yeah, I think Australia would suit me more because I know a lot of people already in Australia and the jobs out there, like teaching, there's so many teaching jobs out there. At the minute, I've just got accepted for teaching online English, even though I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting it going. There's always some problems in there.
But what do I always teach you?
There's always a solution. You can teach yourself everything online.
Yeah. I do.
I know,
like,
it's very frustrating.
I'm like, if you can't, he's like, well, I can't log in. I'm like,
but I've emailed the helplines and
no, but like even something like, I'm not just talking about like that, but like in terms of anything, when I'm like, when I get you to do stuff for work and you're like, I don't know how to do this, I'm like, well, I don't know how to do it either. So, and I find out and my assistant finds out and such and such. So I was like, I always say this, right? I said this in like one of my posts on Instagram, like, just because something's difficult doesn't mean it's impossible. Because some people like go and then when it's difficult and they're like, oh, I can't figure this out, then they just quit. And then that's the difference between someone who becomes successful and someone who doesn't. Because when something gets difficult, I would question why it's difficult. So, okay, why is it difficult and where can I change it and how can I become better and how can this become less difficult? And it could be anything. It could be the fact, like, let's just say, like, I'm doing like a talk. And I'm like, oh my God, there were times I just didn't want to do them because it was so difficult for me because I was, like, it obviously gave me so much anxiety to, like, go on stage. And I was like, okay, why am I so anxious, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, I got, like, the reason for it, like, in therapy and stuff like that. Like, and then it comes to even, like, just to say, like, me making the course, like, the brave way, when something hits difficult, I'm like, okay, how do I get the right mics and get the right studio and get the right and how do I upload all this into a course? And like I'm like, okay, why is it difficult? Okay, I need more skills. Actually, I need to hire someone in this area, and then you figure it out from there. So, like, I do always.
Yeah, but I think public speaking in general is just a little bit more challenging for people.
You're doing great right now.
Thank you. Yeah, but this is different. You know, there's not people staring at us.
I'm staring at you.
You're staring at me, but you stare at me all the time. No, but you know, even when I've done public speaking in uni, you have to do presentations and stuff. Like, it is really challenging, but probably the best thing to do is just not look at anyone. Kind of just pick a spot and stare at it, and hope for the best. Try and not stutter in your speaks.
I think it's just like I always say this, right? It's not confidence, it's courage, and then the confidence comes after the repetition of the amount of times you've been courageous enough to do it.
Yeah.
That was a really good quote. Kyle, save that and put it on a reel. Thanks.
Let's get it in Canva now.
Oh, yeah. So, basically, right, Jack. So, anyone that, like, works for me or any staff that works for me, they get free courses and they get, like, anything that ups their knowledge, like, they can have access to. And I'm like, yeah, here you go. So, I was like to Jack, like, go wild with courses and, like, do whatever you need to do. And he was learning. And I was like, it's as simple as this, right? You can go on, like, Skillshare. And you can do a course in Canva or Udemy, there's another thing. And you can do a course in Canva. A course in, like, basically Canva is digital marketing for someone like me. Like, all I need on my team basically is someone who's really good at Canva and who knows how to put all the brand stuff together and have it organized. And then, because, like, all my stuff is like Canva and then it's all organized within Trello boards. You're like, what the hell is that? But, so, like, all my... It's not Sinead Hegarty Instagram, like, because Sinead Hegarty is, like, that Instagram is just wild. I don't even know what's going on there. It's like...
This is kind of your Brave Way Instagram?
Yeah, anything goes in the Sinead and the, like, my Instagram, like, obviously because it's just me. No one's in there. Yeah. But then, obviously, the Brave Way, and then, like, stuff like that. And, like, the podcast, all that stuff is, like, different. But, yeah, so Jack was doing courses there and, like, upskilling.
I think all them courses are good to have, just in life in general. if you want to create
Yeah.
something, like Canva is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool like tool to use, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's so much like he can do. Like he was doing,
Yeah.
because you've obviously been doing some work for me as well, which has been like good for me because I can't deal with some of the stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think
lot.
the time difference as well from
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that work for you are back home in the UK, so what, we're 8 hours ahead.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time when you need something done, they're sleeping.
Yeah. So Jack's been sort of like
Sounds
doing a
kinda
few
helping
things
you
for
out.
me. Am I a good boss?
Yeah, it's a good boss.
That's a lie. Isn't it?
No, you're fine. Like,
Not too bad.
that's too bad. I've had worse.
Okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. So we're just completely off track there. We were chatting about Australia. And that
Yes.
you wanted to go. Oh yeah. So you're chatting about teaching and because everyone's like, does Jack want to live in Australia forever? And I'm like, well, we don't know that, but
Well,
we're going to
obviously,
try.
You can never tell for certain unless you try it. But a lot of my friends went to Australia, and I'm pretty sure all of them who came home and says they loved it and they
Yeah.
wish they could go back. Like even I was chatting to a boy here yesterday, and he's like, "Oh, you're going to Australia? I'm so jealous. I can't get back in anymore." So you're gonna absolutely love it. It's amazing out there.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, right, you're going to face the exact same struggle when you get there, and I don't think you'll realise that. You're going to feel lonely
But I
again.
think the fact is that here, I'm always kind of used to a routine. So say I work Monday to Friday, go home, go to the gym, go to bed, work. Whereas out here, it's just completely different. And
Yeah, it's a
sometimes
bit more free.
you don't really know what your purpose is. Whereas I think in Australia, I'll have my job, I'll have a purpose, But sometimes out here, the lifestyle's a lot better. Because back home, you're working your 9 to 5, 5 days a week, 2 days off, and the cycle kind of continues. You probably drink on the weekend, and you're back to work. Whereas out here, it's kind of it's really nice. Everybody kind of works online. They kind of pick their own hours. Kind of every day. It feels like a free day almost. So I do enjoy the lifestyle out here as well.
Yeah, and I think now, right, so I always say this, I think it's around the 8th month mark where you're somewhere you feel really, I always tell people to hang in there when you're in like a new city, because you need to build these close connections and then how do you build the close connections? And I said this to you, so I was like, look at the way, like, let's just say, even like Emma, Fiona, when I was sick, they were dropping me off like wee packages, like that, like emotional investment into a friendship, like just making an effort for someone like that makes you feel safe, and then you do it back, and then this constantly goes in, like, like Curtis bought you some things for your birthday that probably made you feel really nice, and like he was your friend and stuff like that, and then like now if it was your birthday, you would like, or if it was his birthday, you'd buy some back. And I feel like you're really there now with like friends, and you're like looking forward to like going out, and you're having really fun. And I think like when you hit Australia, and I'm gonna feel like that too, because like there's all my friends have gone. Basically, it's been 2 years. I'm 30 now almost. So when I go back, I'm gonna be like, shit, I don't even know what it's gonna be like for me. But yeah. So when we go there, I think there is, because you have to also realize this, right? What I noticed in Australia the last time I was there is that everyone's working Monday to Friday, so the only opportunity for you to be friends and hang out is the weekend. So it's going to take a lot more time to build really good friendships, because you've only got 1-2 days a week. Whereas here, meet them every day, go for dinner, go to a trip. So I think like there actually is going to be like a difficult stage, but I always say to people, like, hang in there, because once it comes, and once you feel that, you feel really proud of yourself. Do you feel like proud of yourself?
Yeah, I would say for anyone that goes to travels to a new place, you give it at least 6 weeks before. It's more than 6 weeks.
Oh my god, like 6 weeks? No way.
6 weeks, around 2 months.
No, I always say you need to have those friendships where you feel like you're having so much fun, and like you can call, like when you can just walk into their house.
Yeah.
It takes 4 months, at least.
4 months?
Yeah.
It's a long time, dude.
I think that, like, do you feel comfortable enough to just walk into someone's house, not let them know? Like, yeah, that there's the
well,
kind
I think sometimes it's a little bit different for boys and girls, I think, no?
I think that's a little comfort that you will get to, but like it's just, like I'm at that stage now with some of my friends, like I could just walk over to Johann's or walk over to Sam's, and like that's a nice feeling, but it took me a long time to get like that. So I think once you get to that stage, especially if you're going to Australia, you become comfortable, and then like everything seems so nice. So you're hitting a sweet spot now, I think, this month.
Yeah, it's coming into, I really enjoyed this month now. Whereas last month I was kind of questioning everything, and I think you kind of do come to that dilemma where you're like, oh, will I just give up or will I push on?
Yeah.
And I am really thankful that I've stuck at it.
Yeah.
Because I am seeing the benefits now, and I am really enjoying it out here.
Yeah, and I needed him to like do his own thing, because like that distance creates the desire as well.
Yeah, you're completely right, because even like your job is from home almost all, it's all online, so we don't even get a break where, say, I go to work or you go to work, you know, we'll miss you for like 9 hours, then you come back, we're just constantly with each other. And the fact that I didn't have a little friendship to just go away with, and you were like, oh, I don't want to leave Jack by the house by himself.
Yeah, I used to feel bad.
You know, it kind of just really put a negative effect on our relationship for a while there.
Yeah, I think we did have a little struggle there for the while.
Yeah, but
then I think when we became aware of it, I was like, right, okay. I was like to you, I was like, you need to put more effort into like building the community. And then it wasn't me, right? So let's just say like a relationship issue or something like this comes up, which they do come up, and the whole point of a relationship is that you grow together and you get through these things. So the main thing was like not attack the person, but attack the problem. So I could have went like, you're not doing anything, or you're not making an effort, or and instead I was like, okay, like what is the problem? The problem probably is that, you know, you need to have your own distance and your own like friendship group and stuff like that. So I was like, how are we going to get there? And then you were like, okay, like let's try these things. And I think you were scared to try those things.
The new sports?
Yeah.
I think
because I think you wanted to do it for a long time, but you're almost scared to just go into the class by yourself.
It's hard to just land by yourself, because especially a lot of them sports you're partnered up, so you're sparring and stuff. And when you're there totally by yourself, you kind of feel like, what if I go and I'm that guy that doesn't have a partner and I'm standing in the corner? So sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and go. I
say this to you all the time, but that is like a wee bit of trauma from bullying.
Yeah.
And it's something that you can need to uncover. Do you get what I mean? No?
I do understand what you mean, like.
Because I was going to actually do a podcast on like how to make friends and why you're not making friends, and like one of the reasons is because you're scared of the rejection. But why are you scared of the rejection? So you could look back and be like, I was rejected like on the playground as a kid when I was bullied, and at that moment as a child when you're being bullied, you feel not enough. And nobody's there to tell you like, oh no, you're enough, blah, blah, blah. You automatically have this like belief that you're not enough and you're not good enough for that friendship group. So you never want to go back to that feeling again. So that's why like starting new things or asking someone to do something can bring up those things. I'm not saying that's your situation, but like this is the podcast that I was gonna talk about. But oh well, we're doing it here. So like there's that. You need to get past that and be like, okay, that was just something that somebody said, or I felt like that at one point in school when this person left me out, you know, when this person didn't invite me to the birthday party, or I didn't get to go to the slumber party. That feeling really embedded into you. And then you need to be like, okay, it doesn't actually mean that I'm not enough at all. That was just like, first of all, being young and not having any like rational skills to be like, no, I actually am like good crack. I have my own flavour. And, you know, it's another thing as well, like, if you ask somebody to do something to make friends, it's actually not a big deal if they say no. And, like, you need to stop being scared of it and be like, if they say no, it's not really your fault. Yeah. Like, it's not, like, at the end of the day, there could be any reason why they can't go. And, like, everyone has their own, like, individuality and flavour, and like it sometimes just doesn't suit. Like sometimes you like be friends with someone and then you just like move away a bit because you're like, that's not, and you got to realise that like that's going to happen. And then the sooner you realise that and like you're enough in yourself, then you can like move forward with asking people to do stuff more often. Same goes for like, say, lads asking girls out.
Yeah.
That was a lot there. That
was a lot to take in. But no, you are completely right. There is just certain people that just don't get along. No matter how hard you try, they're just not your cup of tea. And that's life. So you just got to keep trying until you find someone who is your cup of tea. And who you do enjoy getting along with. And, you know, as the saying goes, you have to kiss a few frogs till you find your prince.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that right, Sinead?
Yeah, definitely. Just a few.
We'll not talk about that.
We don't talk about that. Yeah, so that's probably like us caught up. But then we also have like loads of questions to get through.
For me?
For the both of us.
For the both of us.
So I will get them because, you know, once we have Jack in the studio, it's time to ask Jack and get a male's perspective on things as well.
I think a male perspective is nice in a few things. Because you're speaking from a girl's perspective, why not hear what it's like for boys? Anything interesting?
No, I'm just laughing because somebody goes, I literally can't understand a word Jack says. What is the hardest thing about dating Sinead Hegarty?
About dating you?
Yeah.
Where do we start? I'm only joking. The hardest thing about dating Sinead Haggerty, I think it's the fact that your life is just always on show.
Yeah.
So there's no privacy in the relationship. So if things are off between us, like everyone kind of knows, and just stuff like that. And sometimes when you want to do something privately, but especially back home in Ireland, you do get recognised a lot. I think for me, it's just not ever being in the public eye, trying to get used to it. But I'm kind of a bit used to it more now. So I'd say that was originally the hardest part.
Yeah, but also it's such a vibe as well. Remember when we went to
the caravan? Yeah, it is pretty fun too. Like, it has its pros and its cons, doesn't it?
Yeah, me and Jack went on a caravan trip, and like people were recognizing us, but like that was like the easiest thing for us because we were making friends and we were like having the crack, and like it was so easy because they just knew us. So it wasn't just like we had to like make random friends when we were out and about. So like it's actually a really cool thing as well, but also it is very difficult whenever people are always speculating about our relationship, and like we're not perfect.
I know sometimes when you do hear stuff, you're like, well, that's not even true.
And you're like, where is
this came from?
Some of the things, like,
it's like, what?
I'm like, couldn't be. Where does this come from? Like, people just literally.
I think anyone in the public eye has to kind of develop a thick skin.
And that's annoying because sometimes I want to be like, that didn't happen. And then, like, you're just like, well, there's no point because you can't just keep saying things didn't happen.
But I think if you acknowledge it, then you're adding fuel to the fire because, like, oh, we got to her that time, let's do it again. So if you just kind of ignore
but we just hear it from the grapevine. Someone would ask me, like my friends would be like, oh, did this? And I'm like, what? No. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think that's hard. I think there's a lot of pressure on a relationship as well because...
I think that and the fact that you can almost just work anywhere in the world. And I don't really have an online job at the minute.
Yeah, that is tough. And I think...
sometimes it's tough because you're like, oh, I want to live here and I'm here. And I'm like, oh shit, like how am I going to make this work?
Yeah.
It's completely different to like your stereotypical Irish relationship where both of you get like a job, you go home, you get a wee dog, you live in a little cottage house.
Yeah, it's
whereas
very
you're
different.
Completely different. Your lifestyle is very different to anyone I've ever dated now.
I'd say, yeah, that is very difficult. I mean, we're not complaining about the lifestyle.
No, the lifestyle.
I might want to do that soon.
Happy Jackie at the minute.
Happy Jackie. That's a personal joke.
That's a personal joke. Don't want to talk about it.
Can't talk about it.
Can't talk about it.
I wasn't actually going to answer this question, but I actually am because I actually want opinions of other people in this. So a lot of people have been asking like about the difference in how much money that we make, right? Mm-hmm. And how do you feel about that? Okay. Now, do you know what's very strange about this?
What?
When I was going out with men who had more money than me, in terms of like, and I mean like I've been out with people and they would like be very successful and I was sleeping on my friend's sofa, you know, like I didn't have a penny. Not one person commented, not one person asked how does it feel, the dynamic of the relationship and how does it work and blah blah blah. So I was like, is that question coming from like a little bit of like misogyny that like it's weird because I make a lot more money?
I think a lot of people just think it's unusual that the girl...
But is it because the girl... But then, you know, why is that weird?
Like, I'm proud of everything you've achieved.
Oh,
and I'm very proud of all that. And I'm proud of me as well. Like, I've done 2 uni degrees. I'm a teacher, but obviously teacher doesn't exactly earn a bomb of money compared to, like, what you do. You have your own courses, your own businesses. Like, you're doing really, really well for yourself. And I think people just kind of... You know, it's not normal that the girlfriend earns more than the boy. But... You know, you can make it work.
But I think, like, this is 2022. And I'm like, open to what people think about that. Because, I mean, that has come into my question box a lot. But I never got that question when I went out with other people who had, like, a lot more money than me. And I was, like, a travelling, like, pisshead who lived on my friend's couch.
Yeah.
You know, like, no one ever asked me that question. Why? So I'm like, okay, is this, like, a thing where it's weird for the woman to make money? I don't know, because I get really weird about shit like that, don't I? I get really defensive.
I'm like,
why is that? Why?
I think it would be a problem if you were the only one making money and I was doing nothing. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, and we have rules, don't we?
Yeah.
We have good rules. So the rules are that if I want to do something that I want to do, I pay for it, right?
Yeah, but your lifestyle's a lot more expensive.
Yeah, and then I pay, you know what I mean? So we have rules, so I'm like, look, if I really, really want to do that, I will, like, pay for it, but also, like, We have rules where, you know, you pay for dinner.
Yeah.
And what's our other rules?
I think we a lot of the dinners, and then I pay for a lot of the household things like the electricity, cleaning.
Yeah,
Stuff,
Jack's in charge of the electricity. This is another good thing for, I was chatting about this on my Instagram as well, about building trust. And I read this book called What Makes Love Last. And you know the way, like, you think you've trust in your relationship because you trust them to, like, go out and, like, not cheat on you or whatever. But then, do you, like, there was this whole quiz on, like, do you trust them with, like, your household, like, the cleaning up? Do you trust them, like, if you were sick, to, like, look after you and feed you and, like, cook you dinner? Like, there's this big massive list of, like, all these things that you didn't think about, you know, like, so I think, like, we were like, let's give each other, like, responsibilities to, like, gain trust within each other. So I was like, you're in charge of the electricity, and, like, you've never let the electricity go out.
Yeah.
And you're in charge. No, I put you in charge. And, like, I always, obviously, because I know everything in Bali, I'm always like, okay, I'll book the house and I'll book the flights and blah, blah, blah. But now I'm like, okay, no, here's your responsibility now. Like, you're in charge of the visas now. So, like, you just have to, like, figure that out. And then, like, when he does everything, pays everything on time, like, that builds my trust for him as, like, a partner going forward. And I think it's really healthy for us to, like, because I know, girls, if you're listening, that, like, we don't trust our men to do anything. Like, if you were, like, to trust your man to, like, do a birthday party or to get, like, kids' birthday present.
Dinner or something.
Yeah, like, book dinner.
Yeah.
And then I'll just say, like, hey, can I trust you with getting my friend's birthday cake today? You know? And, like, those things are, like, trust exercises. And I think giving responsibility to your partner about those little things that you're scared to give responsibility to is a very good way to build trust.
Yeah, and I think it's a nice feeling too when they actually come through and do it as well.
Yeah, and you like having all that responsibility.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
It's like man of the house sort of things.
Man of the house. You should.
Oh yeah, people are asking me about cleaning.
Oh, were they?
Okay, right.
This is a good question. I'm interested to see how you answer this.
Okay, so a lot of people said, like, someone said, do I mummy him, right? Because I am I can get like that.
What, like a mother figure?
Yeah, because I'm older. So it's
I think you feel because you're older too that sometimes you do feel like a mummy figure if you do something for me. You feel like, oh, I'm kind of being like your mum here, not your girlfriend.
Yeah, so I'm like, and like there is a thing where, you know, you've been living at home as well, so you have to.
Yeah, you have to build
it's
these
been
skills.
hard, yeah, I'd say for.
And
I was the exact same whenever I went to university after my mum mummied me.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know how much I didn't know how much she mummied me until I left uni and realised that I never have toilet roll. I never had milk. You know, like all that stuff was just done for me.
I think me and my brother don't actually realise how much she and dad did for us.
Yeah.
Until they stopped doing it. You know, the same way you don't know what you had until it's gone. So then once you're living without your mum and dad, you're like, why have I got 40 plates at the sink? Why is there no toothpaste? What's going on?
Yeah, that was like me at uni as well.
Why are my dishes not automatically cleaning themselves?
Yeah, and then you just learn.
But I think I haven't been too bad. Like I pretty much.
Okay, so we are both okay because you know why it works? We're both as clean as each other.
Yeah, no one's really extreme.
No one's extremely clean, and we also don't care that much about if there was something left.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you've got protein in the shaker now, but I spoke about it.
Yeah, but the smell from that is really bad, so
yeah.
I do understand.
So I didn't go like, you keep doing this. I was just like, babe, this is going to stink it out, and then we're not going to we're going to have to get a new juicer. We're going to have to get a new smoothie machine.
She's making a smoothie machine. Remember the lizard that was in my shaker?
Yeah, no, you have to watch out for
God.
lizards doing everything.
I nearly died.
Yeah. There's a lot of extra things in Bali that Jack didn't know.
I didn't know there's like geckos everywhere.
Everywhere. So yeah, Jack does clean up after himself. Not all the time. But sometimes all the time. I don't do it all the time either, so it's like a match made in heaven.
Sometimes you do get annoyed right now.
And we have one wardrobe room. And that keeps us going.
Yeah, I think I kind of just fire all my clothes in like the little cupboards.
Yeah.
And you take the whole other
cupboard.
whole
room, yeah. Okay. How have you changed since how have the both of you changed since you both started going out?
Since we started dating?
Yeah. I mean, a lot has changed for you.
I think a lot's changed for me. I think taking on more responsibility and stuff. In my previous relationship, I was kind of never really organised anything. Whereas you realise like that will never work in any other relationship. So you need to plan a lot more, which is still a work in progress, but I've definitely improved. I think. Have I improved? I think I'm a lot better at buying you like random little gifts and stuff, like making you feel appreciated.
Yeah.
Like flowers and stuff.
Do you know what my love language is?
Physical touch, or
I don't know. I used to think it was physical touch.
what is it now?
I don't know, because obviously
Is it validation?
mine that I like to do to other people is gifts. Like, what am I like?
Yeah, you're a bit extreme sometimes.
I'm so extreme when it comes to gifts and stuff, like
or tipping and stuff. And for you, you're a big tipper, so they almost die every time you tip them.
I know, so cute though.
It is pretty cute. Bali people are quite cute, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're very innocent until they drive.
Ooh, okay, were you afraid you weren't together long enough when you moved in? I definitely think like it was, not that it was too soon, but like if we were in any normal life, like we wouldn't be moved in together. No. We both like our own space. Like it is like, I think moving in together, you have to also realize that you need to like create spark rather than like, because like you're every day, like when we weren't living together, we were doing long distance, and then we were doing long distance in Ireland whilst we were in Dublin.
I think over the year of our relationship, we've been in so many different scenarios. It's crazy. We've went from not seeing each other for like 4 months to like seeing each other every week to living with each other.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Our relationship was kind of like there, and there.
Yeah, I think like
extreme to extreme.
Yeah, and I think like I wouldn't live together this soon, but only because like we're both moving to Bali.
Yeah.
It'd be different if like we're both moving to Bali with like different friend groups, and then I still think like we're only together officially a year and we're moved in. I definitely think like that's too soon.
Yeah.
But we're okay. But it definitely, when you move in with someone, I think there's a lot more work to put in.
I think moving in with someone's a big step.
Yeah.
In a relationship, and you need to kind of, like, you don't really know. You know, when you're not living with each other, you're kind of seeing each other the odd time, but you're not exactly seeing everything they do all day. And then when you start living with each other, you find out whether you really like this person or they annoy you a lot. And I think we're doing pretty fine.
Yeah. I mean, we actually don't like...
We don't argue that often.
Fight. Like, we don't fight, but like, I'll be like, you need to do this and you need to do that.
I don't think we're really toxic. Where we wouldn't speak for like 2 or 3 days. If someone's bothering us, we pretty much sort it almost straight away.
Oh yeah, I'm like, okay, let's...
Because there's no point.
Talk.
There honestly is no point if something's bothering you, holding it in. Like, it's better just to talk about it and at least try to come to a solution. Do
you think you would come out with some of the things that you struggle with if I didn't make you do Thanos?
I don't know.
I don't make you do it.
I think sometimes I don't. I actually think it's very beneficial, because sometimes there is something you do that's annoying me, but I don't mention it to you, and then we do Thanos. Then I can mention it then. Yeah, with like a free... Yeah, it's like a free pass. Almost not scolding you. I'm just telling you, like, here, I don't like you doing this. Can you do it a little bit less? I really like when you do this. Can you do it a bit more? So it is really beneficial for the two of us. Yeah, and I think like even, you know, that you always buy me flowers and you like do things, like it's because I've affirmed it. I've been like, I really enjoy it when you do that. So if I didn't tell him that, right, okay, just in case anyone didn't listen to last week's podcast, Thanos is feeling, this is like 10 minutes that we just do. We do it like once every 2 weeks. For 2-3 weeks, yeah. Yeah, sometimes once a week if we're like, if you can feel the energy, you can be like, okay, let's do a quick Thanos. So it's like feeling, affirmation, need, ownership, and struggle. So it's just an opportunity there. And like, you can just sort of say anything that you feel at that moment, and then you just sort of like talk about it and get over it. And it's kind of like a difficult, you know, like most difficult conversations make things so much better. Like even after we do a Thanos, we're like so much closer. Yeah, because I think you get across a lot of things that you wouldn't talk about unless you were doing that. So even for the struggle, if you say like, I'm really struggling with this, then I can try and like do things that will help you doing that. It really builds the connection, doesn't it? Yeah. And like if you build up, like in my relationships ebook, I talk about like when you feel like resentment towards someone, like let's just say he didn't clean up his bowl, like something random like that, and I'm like, I'm not going to say it to him again. So then I just build the resentment up in my body. Like then that resentment almost turns into like rejection, because you don't speak it and deal with it and talk about it, and then you just start rejecting them, and it just at the end it turns into rejection, and then you're ended up living with a roommate because you're not like talking about the hard topics that you need to talk about.
So I think it's good for you as well, because you tell me what you need and I don't know. I can't read your mind. You can't read mine. So.
True, yeah. And a lot of times, I think for boys especially, if we're struggling with something, we don't let it out. It's kind of almost like defeats our masculine purpose. So we kind of hold it in. Whereas that, you can kind of just freely say, look here, I'm struggling with this. It'd be nice if you can help me in this. And you don't kind of feel degraded or anything.
Yeah.
It's just nice to kind of communicate what you're struggling with, and then we can work towards fixing it.
Hear that, boys? Think there's boys listening?
Yeah, I hope so.
Think your friends are listening?
I hope not. But I'm probably
Shout
sure
out.
they are.
Any advice for them while they're here?
My friends?
Yeah.
Let's get off the drink.
Someone was like, is there any major differences in food in Bali? Like milk? Jack likes his at-home comforts. Like,
I think one of the main struggles out here was the fact that I have a nut allergy as well. Because a lot of the food here is made with like almond flour and nut sauces and stuff. So you just have to be extra cautious when you're ordering. I remember I had a scare. The first 2 days, the second day I came here, so I went to the restaurant. I think you were away somewhere, so I went into the cafe myself. And I ordered, I googled what peanut allergy was in Indonesian. So it's allergy catching. There you go. So it says that the waiter, I was like, allergy catching, can't have any nuts. And he goes, yeah, make sure. So I went to order the protein pancakes. Came back and I was like, oh, can't have that. It's made with almond flour. So I just played it safe. And I was like, I'll take the omelette. I'll have a protein shake with that. Now make sure it's fresh milk and just regular chocolate whey protein. And I took one sip of the protein shake. Just immediately didn't feel right. It's like that there kind of smells and tastes like hazelnuts, because you can tell. Anyone with an allergy knows you can kind of tell straight away. I was like, that's not right. So I just stopped drinking it, paid for the food, went home, and I must have been vomiting for about an hour straight, wasn't I?
Yeah, you weren't well.
See, my allergy is peanuts is really bad. The EpiPen for the peanuts, but like tree nuts, I'll just come out with rash and vomiting and just not be myself for like 2 or 3 days. So I think that was, because it was the second day here and I said that I have a nut allergy.
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus, this is a bit scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
There is that fear as
so
well.
sometimes when I'm out in restaurants, I'm kind of like a wee bit afraid that it'll happen again. But the food out here in general is really good though.
Yeah, it's so good.
It is pretty good.
But we do miss...
I miss sweets.
No, Jack misses Starburst, but we also really miss El Greco in Castlederg. If you haven't been to El Greco in Castlederg, it's where we're from. It's like a Greek restaurant, but they do this thing called chicken creme fraiche, and it is like the bee's knees.
I think it's hard to explain.
It's like
the
home
taste
comforts,
of it.
yeah.
But everyone that goes to El Greco loves it, and they always get that. The Castlederg is the nicest food, isn't it?
Castlederg has really nice food. Like, I don't know if I'm being biased, because you've also got the red pepper that does the best pepper sauce.
Forge is a great chippy too.
Oh my god, Forge! I haven't had Forge in ages.
No. Maybe it's just because it's our hometown.
And the curry.
We're backing it up.
All the
Yeah,
curries.
the Chinese is good as well.
This is a good one for us.
What is it?
How to not feel rejected when your partner asks for space. We're the king and queen of asking for space.
That seems to be what comes up in Fanas all the time.
It's like, what do you need? I need space. I need more space to play my kids. I need more space.
But it's kind of because we're living with each other as well. We're like, okay, I need an hour to myself. You know what I mean? I want to play my Xbox for 2 hours. I want you to leave me alone. But
because I have my time in the morning. You see, without him,
yeah.
Because he gets up like half an hour later.
I think you get up around 7:30.
6:30 at the minute.
You're up to 6:30 these days.
Yeah, I'm 6:30.
I normally roll out about 8:15, 8:30.
Yeah, because I have a new routine now. I have to stretch because I'm a pole dancer now.
Pole dancer now. Pole dancer vibes.
But and people are like, oh, how do you deal with Jack? But Jack does early now. He never, like, I mean, when we first started going out, it was, I was like, why is this normal?
But this was in the peak of lockdown, and anyone that was in lockdown that played COD knows that when you get into like a wee groove of COD,
right,
it will not stop it at 4 a.m, 5 a.m, and because it was lockdown, you weren't working the next day, so you probably didn't get out of bed about 1. And I know it's really not a healthy way to do it, but it was a lot of fun.
I think a lot of people will struggle after the whole pandemic. There was a lot of like, although there's things like that, like there's still like a lot of people would have been having that sleep routine where they were waking up at like 1. They probably would, and it took you a long time to get out of that.
Honestly, once you get into a routine, it is hard to get out of a routine of doing that. But once you start kind of getting back used to getting up early, your body kind of just gets more used to that, and you get tired earlier. and then your body kind of naturally wakes up earlier as well.
Yeah, and
like, I used to be able to sleep till 1, no problem.
Not a baller.
Not a baller.
Not a baller.
Sometimes I thought there was something wrong with me. I could sleep 14 hours, no questions about it.
Nice for some.
Nice for some, eh?
That's a privilege too at the same time. Because
yeah, but it's not healthy as well, because I think you're almost oversleeping and you're still tired when you wake up.
Yeah.
So I think kind of
now we've got a good balance. We go to bed
I always
like
try
11.
to get 8 hours in.
Go to bed like 11. I wake up at like 7.
Yeah.
You have a good hour by yourself in bed, but obviously we're privileged because we have another extra room where I can go into.
Yeah.
So it's easier, but like I would be pissed off if I had no other room. And like I had to like rummage around for stuff.
Yeah, getting your clothes and stuff.
Yeah, so we're lucky that we have that and we can.
But I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, we've been fine, and plus it's only like an hour, and then you get up because I'm like I do my meditating, I think
that hour is good for you.
Yeah, do my meditating, do my reading, and then you come downstairs. I'm like, Jack,
missed you.
I'm like, give me a hug and kisses. And you're like, get away with me with that coffee breath.
I'm not a morning person either.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I've got coffee breath, and he's so like, so the morning thing is not really like it's not a thing anymore because we both get up early enough.
Yeah.
And we both get up, go to the gym at the same time, different gyms, but favorite memory together.
Me and your memory.
Yeah.
I really liked. Honestly, I liked the All Ireland final.
Yeah.
I really liked Finlock as well. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Finlock, Sligo.
Sligo was great.
Yeah, that was whenever the relationship was on the DL.
Yeah.
People were catching us.
People were questioning, like, who is he?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was really cute.
Yeah, honestly, I loved the All Ireland final. I think just because there was a crowd.
Well.
The weddings were great as well. But the crowd back in Croke Park, the atmosphere, and when you hadn't really experienced an atmosphere because of COVID.
Yeah.
And it was with you and all the lads were there. It was just a class experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, the All Ireland
hard
final
to beat
was
the All Ireland
unbelievable. Like,
so hard to beat, especially throwing one in as well. Like, just he made it even better.
Yeah.
It was some buzz.
And like, especially after COVID, and then we were allowed into the stadium.
Yeah, and you were allowed into pubs as well after.
Yeah.
It was just great because you didn't realise you missed it until you
weren't allowed to stand up in the pubs though at that time, but we got to sit beside each other.
But it was still fun.
And you sit beside each other, drink cocktails. We love a good cocktail.
I do love a good cocktail. Real men drink cocktails.
Yes, we're kind of cocktailed out after Jack's birthday. How do you deal with people judging your relationship?
Judging our relationship?
Yeah.
I just don't really think about it. Honestly.
I think about it.
I don't really think about it. And I'm pretty sure that people do judge it, but you know, as long as you just focus on each other, people are always gonna talk. Like, you know, it's human nature. People talk about things. So I don't really let it get to me.
Yeah, I do let things get to me a little bit. Like, I get really upset.
But I'm more of a chilled person.
But I also you're more chilled, and I get upset.
Back.
But I also do like a lot of like cutting cord, like energy stuff. Be like, okay, just relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think it's just something that comes with. I think everything that I've been doing for the last few years has been judged, and then you just sort of get used to it.
You have to. There's no other way to do it.
You just get used to it, and if I wasn't used to it, wouldn't be like I'd just be doing nothing.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't be doing anything else like new and stuff. You know what I mean? Okay. Jack, this one's for you.
Okay, let me have it.
How to get a GAA lad who I think likes me actually to put me first or close second. So I'm guessing the GAA comes first.
That is a very tough question.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of friends who put Gaelic above absolutely everything, which is it's crazy because Gaelic's obviously like, you know, it's a competitive sport, but it's not paid.
Yeah.
You know, it's all pure like wanting to play, but some boys are just Gaelic everything. So I don't know how you would actually get that person in that mindset to change and kind of put Gaelic behind their girlfriend.
But I think it's not about asking to be first or second. It's about it's about understanding. It's like you asking me to put the podcast second.
Yeah, I think she just needs to talk to him and
about
let him know.
It's about like being like, okay, how can we make you feel good? How can we make this like feel like you're enough and make you feel good enough? Like, what can I do right now to help you make you feel like you are a part of my life? Because obviously Gaelic does come first in some circumstances. Like, you know, Jack leaves weddings and goes to football match and goes to Gaelic matches. And at the time, I could have been like, and I remember you being scared to tell me.
But, like,
and when you told me, I was like, it's not really a big deal as long as you you're only going, you're going and you're coming back. The only thing I would be annoyed at is I'm going to miss you at the wedding because we have fun together. So I wouldn't be. You need to realize that you're not angry. You're just missing them and you just want to spend time with them, which is a good thing. So you should just say to them, like, how can we make this work that I feel like I'm part of your life?
I think for her, what she needs to understand is boys don't want to let the team down. So imagine the wedding, for example.
Yeah.
I chose not to go to that match and we lost that game. Like, I'd be in an awful mood the whole wedding. I'd be like, maybe I could have been there and made a difference. And now maybe all the lads are going to be raging at me that I've let them down. Because once you're part of that team, you know, you're a community, like, you depend on each other, and you know what I mean? So I think they kind of need to talk and set boundaries. Okay, on the days that you're not committed to Gaelic training, nobody really wants to miss training or matches. You need to make me feel a bit more appreciated. Maybe you can plan something in between them dates for me and you to do. And just, I think the best thing for her to do is let him know how she feels.
Yeah.
Maybe the boy doesn't even realise that he's doing that. Because sometimes when you're doing a sport, you don't realise that you're putting it so ahead of everything, and it takes someone to tell you, look, you're focusing all of your time into that. You need to, like, focus a bit of your time elsewhere and focus on us.
Yeah.
Can't you see what you're doing is kind of pushing me away?
And also, like, I actually think it's really, like, for me, it's very good for my attraction to Jack that he's so interested and so into something. I think, like, I really enjoy when he's so dedicated to it. Like, we're flying home for you to play football.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't have to do that. I could be like, no, like, this is our life here. But I'm like, I appreciate the fact that, like, you care so much about it. And I'm like, I want to support that.
Yeah.
And I want to support you. Just like you come here for me and I'm going to go there for you. And, like, we can make things work. Like, we can always go home every summer for you to play Gaelic if you want. Yeah. But if you don't freaking win something.
We're due a championship, I'm telling you.
Right, okay. So, you know, I really like that he said again. And obviously sometimes it is frustrating when, like, he has to leave in the middle of a wedding and then come back. But then you think, like, look at that dedication that it shows. And then use it to amp up your attraction to them because it's sexy.
It takes some sacrifices, though, to actually win something.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Exactly. He's going to win this year, Castleberg.
I hope so.
You're watching this Division 4.
Division 3.
Division 3. Castleberg's coming for you this year. Jack's going to be Jiu-Jitsu in it up until we go home.
AFL soon, hopefully.
Yes, we're going to start AFL.
I've never actually played or watched AFL.
Shall I go back to Gaelic?
I would, why not?
Oh, I'm shite. I'm actually not that bad.
Have I watched you play Gaelic before? I don't think I have.
It's just a dedication. Like, it's like matches every Saturday and Sunday. Like, if anyone here is in the club, can you just please tell me, like, why can't it just be Thursday evenings?
The matches?
Why does it have to be Saturday? Like, I want to go out drinking on Friday. Especially when I'm at home just for the summer and it's sunny.
As good as matches on
and then,
Saturdays.
like, you get in so much trouble if you drink. And it's like, if you did it on a Thursday, we wouldn't have this problem ever.
True, but not a lot of pitches of floodlights and it's quite dark half time when people finish work. So weekdays is hard.
So if I got floodlights for Castleberg, would they change it?
Probably not.
How much is floodlights? How much is floodlights?
Ask the committee.
Okay, no.
Yeah,
okay, wait, there was this question, right? Now, I'm not even joking, like, I need to try and find it because...
What was the theme behind the question?
I feel like that was a very, very good answer that you just gave that girl about her GA.
Thank you.
I think the both of us together just, like, smashed that.
Respect.
Because you actually came from her perspective and I came from yours.
Yeah.
I think it's good to look at other people's perspective.
But I think as boys, sometimes you don't realise you're spending all your time doing something and something else is getting pushed behind or feeling unappreciated or unloved. But,
like, it's like something we as well, like, you know, it's like my work. If you were like, hey, like, stop working, you would just be like, okay, I feel, instead of attacking, as what we said before, instead of attacking the person, attack the problem, be like, hey, I don't feel appreciated. How can I feel appreciated? Yeah,
I think that's a good answer.
Yeah, I think that was a good answer.
Sometimes even your work life revolves a lot around your phone.
Yeah, we're struggling.
Sometimes I'm just sitting there like...
Yeah, and especially because at night is when you guys are awake, so then I'm dealing with a lot of stuff in the evening, whilst we wouldn't be used to that. We'd be used to, like, everything being dull and down by like 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it's a different life.
Whilst it just begins at that time for me to like do stuff, and I obviously have to do all my calls at night and have to do like just loads of different stuff at night. But you know what? I think I need to make better. I think I need to be better at that.
Your time management, or you just work schedule?
No, just on my phone. I think like at night I need to have like, I used to have a cut off, and I think I need to get that back.
It is a common thing where people just stop using their phone after.
Yeah, I used to cut it off at between 9 and 10 and then not turn it on till 11, but I will delete Instagram at night.
I have a really bad habit of going on my phone at night. Really bad.
I think
Watching YouTube videos, such a bad habit.
Yeah, no, TikTok.
TikTok as well.
But I love coming home watching TikTok. It just entertains me.
It's
like, it's what I like to do, but I think there needs to be a cutoff, because obviously those apps are designed to catch your attention like that for
hours.
It's
the algorithm in TikTok that it just keeps playing videos that are similar to what you like, so you can find yourself in a loop for hours.
Yeah.
And you don't realise.
Okay, do we want to do a challenge?
What's the challenge?
To like maybe like have no phones at certain times.
No phones at all, or just not on certain apps?
Well, we have to have WhatsApp, I would say, for our friends and our family. Or like maybe like shut it off, like
I could try.
Latest 10 o'clock, because by the time we like chill down and watch a good Netflix show, we're watching Manifest.
I think actually that's a good idea, because even when you find you're watching a TV show, you go on your phone and you kind of lose interest in the TV show. Where it's good to have you focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Because you like the TV show, phone, TV show, and you lose track of everything.
Let's have a new rule.
What is it?
Okay. Who's with me? Any couples listening? Let's do it. The Shack detox. Shack's detox. What about 9 or 9:30 cutoff of social media? Depending on whether or not I have a podcast, because if I have a podcast, I'd have to wait till it's edited.
Sometimes that's hard though, because as you say, that's the time that all my friends are getting up at.
Yeah.
And they all use Snapchat. So come 10 o'clock, this group chat's kind of kicking off. Right. Whereas it's dead all day.
Okay.
How about the mornings?
I don't have mine in the morning.
You don't have your phone in the morning?
No. I had it yesterday because I got my visa. And
I could do 10 o'clock. Not forever.
But 10 o'clock to 10 o'clock the next day.
Like wake up and not use the phone?
Yeah, get up, read book.
I always see like TikToks of people with these really healthy habits where they get up and they don't use the phone for an hour. They meditate, they read a book, They drink their tea.
That's what I do when you're in bed.
Is this what you do?
Yes.
I know, but
what do you think I do when you're doing that?
I always see it and I always want to be that person. Why is it so hard?
I delete my Instagram at night.
What's your tips for me that wants to do this?
First of all, like, I honestly live for my morning. Like, I get excited to go to sleep so I can wake up and read a book because I love reading and it's something I'm so interested in. And like, I love to like have one subject and just learn right into it. And like, I love to like wake up and be like, okay, 10 pages, and obviously do my meditation. I do my meditation first before my coffee. Meditation and stretching. Sometimes I don't do the stretching. I wish I did, but I don't do the stretching.
I need to start doing stretching.
So before I even think about coffee or anything, I'm like, okay, meditate, right? If it's just, sometimes I just say, okay, should I just do 5 minutes, because that always gets me doing 15 minutes, depending on like, and I even change my meditations for each day. Like today I actually did a one for improving relationships and had like this whole meditation of like everything I'm grateful for you.
Okay.
You know, so like every day just like pick something. I usually just, you know, just chip and change, or usually just do like silent meditation. But
yeah. So
I do that, and it's 15 to 20 minutes. Try to aim for 25 most days, and then after that I'm allowed my coffee, so I'd be happy then that I have.
So it's almost like a treat. So
I have my coffee. It's like a reward.
It's like a reward.
TikTok, watching too much TikTok.
I think almost them things is maybe you can do it once one day and then you give up the next, but consistency is the most dangerous thing in the world. Like.
Yeah, that's just like anything in life. I think like when you have the habits.
Just as I mean, once you get in the habit, it becomes natural.
Yeah, and especially if you enjoy it, like if you're reading something, like sometimes it's hard when I'm reading a book and I've realised that I'm not really enjoying it, and then I'm like, oh, but once I have a book that I really enjoy, I'm so excited, and then I read it, and then I read the book, and then I know that I can write an email and go on Instagram, like I've just gained more knowledge. I can, you know, I just feel like it's my job to like better myself.
Yeah.
So I do that, and then, okay. I have another challenge after you. Okay. Yeah, after I do that, then I read my books, and then I journal and do all my gratitude and stuff like that. And then by that time, you probably come downstairs. So because we were chatting about this yesterday with our friend Curtis. I said, because he reads books, and I was like, Curtis, what's the best book for like a lad to get into? And he said Atomic Habits. So if you're a lad reading this, right, we have to hold Jack accountable.
I associate book reading with work though, university work. I need to get out of that habit. Look forward to reading.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I see it as a chore.
Yeah.
So I need to get out of that mindset.
You need to, no, you're just not reading the right books that suit you.
Yeah.
So you just need to find something for you. I think Atomic Habits is a good one if you're a first time reader and you really want to make a change in your habits. So, okay, deal. Okay, I'll have no phone.
After what time? 10?
Certain time, whatever you want.
10
and
to
you
10?
Get up and have no phone. Or we could just do it together, 10 to 10.
I think I can do the getting up in the morning one, definitely.
Okay.
The night will be challenging. I could probably do it for like a week or two.
No, but what we need to do is we need to choose our times when we're on it all day. We don't need to be on it 10 to 10 o'clock.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that. I'm saying the time difference. So late at nights when I get to chat to the lads.
About what?
Just the crack from the weekend. What they've been up to.
Right, well, Snapchat is like WhatsApp, isn't it?
Snapchat basically is,
Yeah.
Not a lot of people use Snapchat anymore though.
Yeah, like you're not watching people's stories over and over and
Nah.
like looking at stuff that's different from Instagram. You're just actually chatting to your mates in a group chat.
Yeah.
Okay, you're allowed to group chat.
Some allowed Snapchat.
Yeah, but no TikTok.
No TikTok. TikTok's the devil.
So basically somebody sent this in the question box for the podcast. I hope that was no, it was, because she says the question was too big. She wanted to see what guys thought about this current situation. Right now I read this question and I was like, hey, okay,
What is it?
was seeing my boyfriend for 7 months. We went to London last weekend on the Saturday. He paid for dinner, we went shopping, etc. All good. Then on the Sunday we had planned to stay in our local beach in a glamping pod, but our check-in wasn't until 2 o'clock. So by the time we landed it was 12 o'clock. So he suggested going to call and see my parents. All his idea. We did it. It was great. Then we went down to the beach and checked in. I went to the shower, came out, and he had left my shopping that I had done in London inside the door, and his stuff was all gone. Tried to contact him on social media and I was blocked off all platforms, including my phone number. I haven't heard from him since. Literally, we didn't fight. No cross words. He just up and left me stranded. I had to contact my parents to basically come and rescue me. So rumours were circulating about his ex and him seeing one another, which I confronted him with, but he denied. He gave me his phone to look through, etc. But wait for it. That Sunday night, he disappeared. The ex-girlfriend liked a post of mine on social media from 7 months ago.
This is like a movie.
This is like a movie. So she was clearly snooping on me. Coincidence? I don't know. She was like, maddest story. Well, I genuinely don't know what happened. Can you even cope? I just wanted you guys' thoughts because I know how strongly you feel on guys like him.
So, but he was the one that suggested while they were waiting to go meet her parents together.
Yes.
Something must have happened in between.
I know.
I think, did she go to the shower and leave her phone outside the shower?
Ooh.
And maybe he's went through her phone.
And he heard. But then why would he block her? He would ask her, would he not? Because I says, like, do we need to like have a search warrant or like do we need to call the police? Because I was like, what the hell? And I was like,
I don't know what happened there.
And she's like, no, he's been active. According to my friends, he's been on the gram, back to liking girls' pictures.
See, that just defies logic, that whole story. Unless he's just completely panicked.
She goes, how do you go for a shower with a boyfriend and come out and he's gone?
So they were officially together?
She's saying boyfriend? No. I would be landing at his door like, excuse me?
That's crazy.
No, that is hectic, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think the boy's perspective is going to help in that story now. But
what could it have been? Do you think he got back with ex? But you could just be honest.
If she's saying they're already boyfriend and girlfriend, and he's like suggesting that they go see her parents, that's almost like the next step in the relationship. Then to go to the actual place that they've booked, wait till she showers and then leaves.
We need answers.
I don't get it.
We need answers, like, whoever you are. Can you come and give us answers? Like, we need to talk to you.
I don't get that one.
We need to know what happened because this poor girl, you can't leave this girl without knowing. Like, it'd be different if they were just seeing each other, but boyfriend and girlfriend. I'd be knocking at his door.
You would have to get a bit of closure as to why this happened. I don't have an explanation for that question. I'm sorry.
Jack, imagine we went to Finlock, like this is like the bubble domes and where we're from. Imagine we went there and I just left you there. And like
I wouldn't accept that though. I'd be like, why is she? Yeah, I'd have to find out. It would be killing me inside. You'd be like, what have I done? Did she peek at me in the shirt?
Okay. If you're watching this, give us more answers. Like we need more information. But I just thought, like, I remember reading that being like,
that's quite the story now.
I think she wants to know like why a man would do that, but you don't have a clue.
It doesn't have an explanation.
Have you ever done the disappearing act?
I actually haven't. No. Have you done the disappearing act?
No.
No.
Which I'll get a message now and someone will be like, he did the disappearing act
I
away. But yeah, okay, that's all I wanted to do for today. So thank you so much for coming on, babes.
Good to be back.
Good to be back. And thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to write a wee review or subscribe.